a body of iron, a hammer of justice. Overwatch's true tank. Overwatch's most purely defensive character, and currently its only melee character as well, Reinhardt may serve as a shield most of the time, but he's also capable of dealing out plenty of damage when at the right place at the right time. While there are 4 other characters in the game that share the role of tank with Reinhardt, he is easily Overwatch's best representation of the true classic tanking role. Able to withstand more punishment than the rest of the cast many times over, he is the mobile wall behind which your team can stage a massive offensive push or dig in for a defensive stand. Despite his massive role on defense, Reinhardt is also capable of solid damage and disruption to a grouped enemy presence. Reinhardt's rocket hammer, or battle axe depending on the skin you're using, can be pretty easily outclassed damage-wise at close range, but its incredibly wide swing and extended melee range of 4 meters makes it a great tool to use against a grouped enemy force. As a quick aside, if you didn't know this already, everything in Overwatch is measured in meters, which you can test out for yourself in training using the yellow lines around the area. For me, the easiest way to visualize distance in the game is to remember that standard melee range for everyone but Reinhardt is 3 meters, Mercy can heal you from 15 meters away, and D.Va's boosters will move her 30 meters in a straight line. Back to Reinhardt, each of his hammer swings takes 1 second and deals 75 damage, so you'll be able to kill many of the game's heroes in just 3 swings. Not only is the range of each swing wide, but it also persists for a surprisingly long time, meaning that if you turn while swinging, you will widen the swing's area of effect substantially. It's a fine weapon to use in a one-on-one confrontation, but jumping into an enemy group and swinging for the fences can be surprisingly effective, especially if you are paired with a Mercy or Zenyatta who can further buff your damage. Fire Strike is Reinhardt's sole ranged option, a vertical arc of fiery plasma that he shoots straight forward at slow speed. This move deals a hefty 100 damage and, more importantly, ignores shields and over-penetrates enemies. You should be using this skill as often as possible and at all ranges, as it is one of his best damage dealers and can deal massive damage to an enemy team grouped behind their own Reinhardt shield. It also has a relatively short cooldown of just 6 seconds, so you'll be able to use it often. Charge can be used both as an offensive tool and as a way to quickly get back towards battle. While it may seem like Charge is a move best used at long range, it actually works best when you're right in the enemy's face to give them as little time as possible to dodge the attack. Charge will move Reinhardt forward 50 meters over the course of 3 seconds. If you manage to pin an enemy against a wall with the move, you'll deal a massive 300 damage to them, killing anyone in the game save for a tank. Anyone else grazed by the charge will be knocked back substantially and dealt 50 damage. Barrier Field is Overwatch's ultimate defensive tool. If a Reinhardt can coordinate well with an attacking or defending force, his shield can prove to be the deciding factor of any game. The shield is wide to accommodate teammates or turrets shooting through it at either side of Reinhardt, as the shield does not block friendly projectiles. While the shield is incredibly useful, it's not the perfect defense. It slows Reinhardt's movement to a crawl, he's unable to attack while using it, and it only defends from the front, leaving his flank completely exposed. There are a few notable attacks that will ignore the shield altogether and still damage you and your team standing behind it. Reinhardt's Fire Strike, Symmetra's Secondary Fire, and Winston's Tesla Coil are the most notable. Junkrat and Pharah are both capable of working around the shield pretty easily as well, which is why having a group to support Reinhardt while he's using Barrier Field is crucial. While it is not itself a huge damage dealer, EARTHSHATTER is one of the best damage setups in Overwatch. Reinhardt sends out a cone of damage along the ground that spreads forward for 20 meters, knocking anyone unlucky enough to be hit by it prone for a few seconds, leaving them defenseless. Your team can then pounce on them for easy kills. As the EARTHSHATTER itself only deals 50 damage, Fire Strike is a great move to use right after EARTHSHATTER, as you can quickly hit multiple enemies with it, followed up with your normal hammer swings for a guaranteed total of 225 damage. EARTHSHATTER's effect is stopped by shields or any wall, so using it while Reinhardt, Winston, or Mei have their defenses up will likely be a waste. Also, try to use this move while a bit far away from your enemies, as at close range it is surprisingly easy for the move to completely miss. Reinhardt has his share of offensive tools, but when it comes down to it, he's all about barrier field. This damage sponge can be the platform on which an entire strategy either succeeds or fails, both on offense and defense. His effectiveness is entirely reliant on good teamwork, though. A solo Reinhardt is a massive target and is easily taken down when outnumbered, especially by characters who work best just at marching right up to him while his shield is up and blasting away at him, like Mei, Reaper, or Roadhog. It's easy to forget to keep an eye on Reinhardt's health when he has Barrier Shield activated, too. Barrier Shield and his health are completely separate from one another, so make sure to keep a close eye on both of them. It's better to communicate with your team that you're going to drop the shield when it gets to low health rather than let the barrier break, as when it does break you will not begin to recharge for a full 3 seconds. Those 3 seconds can feel like a lot longer than you'd think, because the barrier will start charging from 0 after that time, meaning that in reality a shattered shield nullifies Reinhardt's defense for about 6 or 7 seconds. If you see an enemy barrier up, shoot the hell out of it. 2000 health is a lot for 1 or 2 characters to face, but under concentrated fire you can melt that shield pretty quickly. While on offense, you should always work to have at least 2 other heroes accompany Reinhardt. One healer and someone who can deal some damage at range, like Soldier 76, Hanzo, or Junkrat. While on defense, you can enact a similar strategy, while also focusing on shielding up at choke points to keep the defending team safe while they fend off the waves of attacks. A common strategy when you're on defense or when moving a payload is to have Reinhardt block for a Torbjorn or Bastion turret. On defense, this is usually at strategic positions where the attacking team will be forced to confront and deal with this entrenched defense. On offense during a payload, this is often on the payload itself, with Bastion or the Torbjorn turret positioned atop the payload to dish out massive damage while Reinhardt tanks the damage. A 2 active Reinhardt can be more of a hindrance to your team than a help. He's big. He's a lumbering target who doesn't have great damage output. His role is almost purely defensive, so many may find playing as him boring at times, but his role as a part of a team is vital. Patience and communication are key, but with both of them, Reinhardt stands as your steadfast shield.